Welcome to YOUCANIC. In this video we're going to show you how to troubleshoot the electronic parking brakes on Mazda, and also how to actually release it if you are doing replacing brake pads and rotors on the back. So plug the YOUCANIC adapter into the OBD2 port under the dashboard, and then turn on the ignition by pressing it twice without pressing the brake pedal. That's going to turn on your it's going to turn on your instrument cluster lights, and you can go ahead and turn on the YOUCANIC scanner. And then now, if you are simply trying to put the electronic parking brakes into service mode, so you can replace the brake pads or rotor or do other work there, you can go to maintenance from the home screen, go to electronic parking brake, and select Mazda, and then Smart VIN. It will detect the model. You can manually select the model if you like, but this will just automatically detect it for you. Here we have 2021 Mazda CX-9, and go to special functions, electronic parking brakes. You have two options: enter maintenance mode. This is the first one you're going to do before you start working on replacing your brake pads. So you want to start with enter maintenance, and then follow the instructions on the screen here. Vehicle must start in park, transmission in park, and press OK, and then you perform these steps that you see here. 4 and 5 needs to be performed within 5 seconds. You turn off ignition while press the electronic parking brake switch, and then depress the accelerator pedal, and then you verify the electronic parking brake warning is on, and then press OK, and that's going to put your electronic parking brakes in service mode, and it's going to open up that caliper on the back. And once you're done, you come here and you follow this procedure, and that's how you get the electronic parking brakes in service mode. But if your electronic parking brake is not working at all, and let's say your parking brake light is staying on all the time, what you want to do is, on the home screen, you can go to Diagnostics. Again, here we select Mazda, and then do Smart VIN, and that's going to select your model again. Go to Control Modules and scroll until you see the electronic parking brake right here. Select that, EPB. Here you can read codes. Now, if you don't see this screen and you get no communication, your electronic parking brake module is not getting power. It could have bad wiring harness, it could be bad. The EPB module itself, control unit itself, can be bad, or maybe a blown fuse. But if you see this screen here, then you're connected to it. You can press yes, and we're reading the codes from electronic parking brake control unit. And you can see a number of full codes in here. Sometimes you might have codes if the car was not diagnosed recently, or hasn't been at the mechanic for a while. You might have codes that might have been triggered like 2 or 3 years ago, like battery voltage, maybe battery died 2 years ago. So it's just the code is still there. So what we recommend doing is saving all the codes, all the report. You can save it, email it, print it, whatever works for you. And then you come back, and then you clear the codes. And once you clear the codes, all the codes that are old from the past and not longer an issue are going to clear. But if there's a code there's an issue that's still going on, let's say an open circuit to a particular sensor, that is going to return. You might not return right away, but you drive the car for like 5 minutes, and usually, or a couple of driving cycles, usually the problem returns, and then it re-triggers the code. Now in this case, we just clear the codes, so this most likely, you might say no codes at all, so no full codes found, because we just cleared them. But if you drive the car, then that's going to return. If your parking light is staying on all the time, the other codes are not related, they're old, they're going to clear, but the one that's the issue is going to still be present. One thing that also helps is to look under live data. and we're only looking at live data for electronic parking brake, because every different control module has its own live data. You can press OK, and then this shows you the different status, like electronic parking brake switch, neutral, or what's released, what's off, what's on, voltages, and so on. Now this car does not have an issue with the electronic parking brake, so here are some default values that you can compare to. If you're now, you can start the car and you start driving in, vehicle speed will, but you can also operate the electronic parking brakes, and then you'll see a current being drawn here, as you saw there a second ago. And then graphs, you can actually graph any of those points that you saw earlier. You can just graph them in 2 graphs, or you can have 3 graphs and just compare them. Sometimes that can be very helpful, but that's it. Sometimes if you get no communication with electronic parking brake, come back here, do a quick scan, and that you might have a fault code in one of the other control modules that can be affecting the electronic parking brakes. For example, the rear body control module might have an issue, but if you look at the codes, you'll be able to kind of narrow it down, because a lot of times you might have various control units that kind of pointing to the same issue, so you want to address that first and then kind of go to the next step. But that's it. Thank you for watching YOUCANIC, where you can be a mechanic.